Hey, it's Jonathan. The question is, what are the basics of job costing for landscaping? And do I show my profit margins or profit, the markup essentially, on the estimate and the invoice? And first, I want to talk about the profit side of this because I think this is really, really critical. So I hope you find this helpful. I would not show the markup or the profit on my invoices or my estimates. It's none of the client's business. So you do not want to show that. You want to show what you're selling the service for, and that's it. You want to give them plenty of information to make a buying decision. You want to give them plenty of information so that they're comfortable. But what you don't want the conversation and the consideration to be about is price. You've got to reposition this away from price. So no matter what you're selling, you're selling the benefit. Price is irrelevant. Most people don't make a buying decision based on simply price. And so do not disclose profit margins. As soon as you disclose more information than you need to, as soon as you disclose profit margins, you give someone the opportunity to negotiate with you. If you tell somebody that you're making a $3,000 profit margin on a job, they're going to think of all the reasons why $3,000 is too much money. They do not understand your business. They don't know what goes into these jobs. They don't understand anything about it. They're going to have their own perception of what reality is, and it will be incorrect. Don't open that door. Don't show that stuff. There's no reason to. If you've seen other companies do it, don't do it. Don't follow that. What you want to do, the goal is not necessarily to do what everybody else in the industry is doing. It's not necessarily about matching everyone else's profit margin. So if you learn that on average the industry generates a 12% net profit margin, that doesn't mean your goal should be 12% net margin. I'd rather you have a goal of 20%. If you're more ambitious than all your competitors and you're willing to do the extra work and do the extra learning to figure out how to get 20% net or 30% net out of your business, why in the world and you go about creating all these efficiencies to get there, why in the world, after doing all that work, should you pass all of those efficiencies on to your client? Why should you continue to be satisfied with a 12% net margin? My goal, rather, would be if I'm making 12% net margin now, I can create new efficiencies in my business. If I can get better, if I can buy plant material at a cheaper rate, if I can get my laborers to be more productive, if I can drive more profit out of my business, I'm not going to lower my profits. I'm not going to lower the amount of money I make. I'm going to make more money. I want reward for doing all of that. And if I need to at times lower that to get a big strategic job that I need, then I can make that decision at the time. But I want to make as much profit as I can. Just because the industry makes 12%, I don't want to make 12%. I want to make more. And so to me, it's less about having a giant business. It's more about making really good profit margins. Bigger business just means more headaches. So I'm going off topic a slight bit, but my point is that this profit thing is really critical. There is no law, there's no reason you can only make so much. So don't feel tied to any certain profit number that you might hear coming out of this business. You want to make as much profit as you can, and you want to deliver a really good service. If you deliver a really good, high quality service, you deserve a good, high profit margin. So don't disclose those margins to your clients, because as soon as you tell a client, my markup's 12%, or my markup's whatever that number, my markup's 100%, but my margin's 12%, they're going to try to hold you to that year after year, and you're going to develop as a business person. Your business is going to develop. You're going to want more from your business, and now you've disclosed too much where it's going to be hard to go back on that. So you're selling the benefit, and you're selling the job at a certain cost. It's none of the client's business how you arrived at that. So I wouldn't disclose it. We do not. Here's the price. You want to do business with us? We want to do business with you. Let's reach an agreement at this price. You give out the price. So don't tell them what you're buying stuff at, because you're going to start buying stuff as you get bigger at lower and lower prices. You're going to negotiate better deals. You're going to get better terms. So I wouldn't set that precedent now. So In regards to job costing, lots of stuff goes into that, more than we can cover in this video, but you want to start tracking everything about the job. So you want to track how long how long it takes your guys to install a tree of a certain size, how long it takes them to install bushes of a certain size. You want to, when you bid a job, you want to go back and you want to track how long did it actually take to do the job. But think about this other stuff as well. Think about how long did it take me to design the job? How long did it take me to do the estimate? How many times did I meet with the client? How much time did that take? How much time did it take me to source the plant material? Did I go pick out the plant material? Did I hand pick the plants? Did we pick them up and did we deliver them? I had X number of laborers on the job. How much of my time or my supervisor's time was on the job doing project management activities? When the job was over, how much time did I spend with the client going through the property? And when that was done, how much time did I spend on the phone answering questions and concerns? How much warranty work was involved? There's a lot that goes into this. How much time was spent to get the 50% down? And then how much time was spent to get the remaining balance paid? All of that is part of this job. Every single bit of that goes into your calculation of how much should I charge for this job and what's the margin I want to make on it. So the way you get good at this stuff is you go do a bunch of these jobs and you track all those things. You write it all down. And so you start there. You start to get a feel for it takes me X amount of time to source the plants. It takes me this amount of time to prepare the proposal. It takes me this amount of time to pick out the plants. That stuff's all separate. Most people don't calculate that. They say, okay, I'm installing the plant and I'm marking it up 100%. Or a lot of people think about this is the time involved in installation. They forget about delivery and pickup and sourcing and all that. Track all that. They forget about estimating. They forget about warrantying. You got to track all that. After you start tracking a bunch of that stuff, that's what leads to being able to create a system to job cost it, because then you understand all of the components that go into a job. You understand that it takes you X number of hours to pick out the plants. It takes you X number of hours to go through the pricing books to figure out what's it going to cost for this type of plant at this size, to write the estimate, then to calculate the markup. And granted, you get faster over time, but without going into all the details of job costing, those are the elements of job costing. Then you get into your overhead and you get into other numbers that have to be part of figuring out how profitable a job is. But at the most basic elements, how much time did we have installing and all the other factors I just talked about? Start writing that stuff down. So you might do a $2,000 job and you might do a $5,000 job and you might do a $10,000 job over time. And you start tracking all of the time involved in across all of that for each of those jobs. And then you start to get a feel for your business. Then you got to start to get a feel for, this is how much time goes into pricing, and this is estimating, this is how much time goes into sourcing and picking it out, and driving around and going to 2 or 3 different nurseries to get all the different plant material. And then you start to be able to say, then you start to be able to price correctly. Then you start to know what goes into job costing. So I hope that's helpful. Write it down, track everything. Just write everything down for a while, and you're really going to start to get a feel for your business and understand it. Then your pricing will come together and you'll know what to do. And don't disclose profit margins. Your goal is to make as much as you can, so don't get yourself stuck where a client comes back to you in 2 or 3 years after your business has matured and you've learned and grown, and you need and expect more out of your business. Don't let them come back to you and say, 2 years ago you were marking the plants up 100%. Why are you marking up 200%? They don't need to know that stuff. They don't understand it anyway, and they don't understand your business. It's only going to lead to problems. Just give them the final numbers, and it'll work out just fine.